Hello and welcome to another video. So today we are checking out a RuneCraft deck. This is of course Daria SpellBoost Rune, although Daria doesn't make a massive feature since it is only a one-of in this deck, since you don't actually need a lot anymore considering we have stuff like Chaos Builder, which is really good. And you'll see I make one more misplay with this card in particular because it is so new, but other than that, this deck is extremely powerful and one of probably the best decks you can play in the current unlimited ladder. So let's get right into it and take a look. So first off here is a Rune versus Rune.
Time to shine, Daria.
Rune versus Rune is always a fun match in unlimited. It can be a little awkward, but it always gets the job done. We're starting off with a very good looking hand here. The Owl and Fate and Zealot are nice. No early game cards to really play though. Owl you don't really want to play till 4, so we are looking for at least something early to use. That or we're hoping our opponent doesn't really have anything too crazy. And Knowledge Seeker, not too bad there. The inside draw worked out well, and a double inside back to back. That's some luck right there. Pulling off the nice double spell boost on our entire hand almost. So we just gotta hope we can do well turn 3 here. Nothing much. Fate's hand, still at least something. And now we have a hand that's going to be massively boosted by Magic Owl, giving us actually an insane 16 total spell boost. Because once you of course double everything in the hand, that's some pretty intense boosting. Now of course I decided to go for the Blade Mage just to free up space. I wanted to make sure I had one card slot free. Fortunately the return with the glow ruined that plan. And since I didn't really need the extra owl, that's a little bit of a disappointment. But that doesn't mean we're not in a good spot. While taking 6 damage from our opponent is a risky play, the Magic Owl here gives us a full boost to our hand. We can deal extra damage with the Magic Missile before we Spell Boost, of course, for the extra draw, which ended up just being another owl, so not too happy with that one. I decided to go for the Fiery Embrace. I could have went for more damage instead, but I decided to hold back just a little bit so that I'd have something to play next turn, because our hand's going to be looking fairly empty next turn. Did end up with the concede. Not really a surprise. If they didn't have lethal next turn, it was going to be an uphill battle, so worked out well. But that was definitely just one of the insane hands you can get where spell boosting becomes absolutely nuts, and you can end up with an absolutely insane amount of value plays for zeros. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that little one. It is actually what this deck seems to do best. It does a lot of really good boosting. The only tricky part is getting enough cards in your hand, as you're going to see with this deck right now here. When we're going up against Blood, we don't really have the best spell boostable cards yet. We've got some pretty basic stuff with Blade Mage and Enchanted Sword. Fortunately, going up against Blood and Bloodfed Foulbed is actually really good. Since the more self-damage they deal themselves, the less damage I actually have to try and find in my hand, so we can actually easily just do some big swing turns. I was interested in the turn 2 pass though, and the return with our glow does help us. So that does force them to have to go for more Flowerbed plays. This does probably lock them out of the Florist play this turn, which is probably what they were aiming for, so I'm glad that worked in our favour. We do have the Snipe, and I go for the Chaos Builder, so I get the extra draw. And luckily we get another glow. But I decided not to go for the blade. Probably should have, to be honest, but I was trying to hold off so I could go for a big Enchanted Sword Blade Evo play. Because that would be really good damage, especially if I can go double enchanted. And this is going to be a rather short video overall, but this is where things get a little more hectic. So I go for the Magic Missile, starting us off. I decide to use the Mysterium Missile, which might have been a small mistake possibly, when I should have went for the Evo on the Chaos Wielder instead. Because if I had went for the Chaos Wielder, I wouldn't have had to destroy that follower. I could then do every single play you're seeing here in this order, and I could have played out everything I needed to actually get what would have been a perfect lethal. I actually had no real need to play that missile. So it still worked. I mean, they ended up killing themselves because they obviously couldn't deal with what I put on board on turn 5, but it was just something little that I could have mitigated. This deck, though, is a little powerhouse. There wasn't really a lot of new stuff to show for the deck. It is your pretty standard SpellBoost deck, and if you've checked out any of my other SpellBoost deck videos, if this isn't your first one, then you'll know how strong this kind of deck can be. The amount of SpellBoost you can actually get off it is absolutely nuts, and since this one isn't as heavily reliant on Daria, this deck's become extremely cheap. Running just one legendary for unlimited is pretty insane. You don't have many decks these days that don't run at least a triplicate set, so definitely take this deck while you can get it. Chaos Wilder, really good card. Just always try to remember the Evo SpellBoost is important. That, again, is why I could have ended the game that other turn without having to wait for my opponent's turn, so definitely always try and keep that in mind. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. I know I enjoyed making it. It was a lot of fun to actually play this deck and get some of the really easy wins that I did with it. Highly recommended. This deck, Haven's next deck, which you'll see in tomorrow's video, and potentially an Unlimited Forest video that may come up, is definitely the 3 powerhouses for the current Unlimited meta. So definitely recommend giving them all a look. Till next time, guys. See ya.